Hello. For our third theme of geography, we have HEI, otherwise known as human environmental interaction. So if we recall our mnemonic device, P stood for place, R stood for regions, and the I in PRILM stands for interaction. When we introduced this one, we said that this was the basic definition of geography. How we as a species have come into a natural environment, Earth, and interacted with it in both positive and negative ways. So understanding this theme is crucial for your understanding and learning in this course. So again, when we think about HEI or this interaction, we're thinking about how people interact and relate within different environments around the world. So a person living, let's say, in Delaware in the United States is going to interact with their environment a lot different than a person, let's say, living in the Sahara Desert in Africa. So depending on where you are and the environment you live in is going to go a long way in shaping how you adapt to the environment, how you modify that environment, and the various things you obtain from that environment that you depend upon. So when we think about HEI, we can look at it in three sub-themes, and I just mentioned them. The first one is adaptation. So when you adapt, in this instance, it's humans adapting to a changing and evolving environment. So in Delaware, we have 4 distinct seasons. When the seasons change, the weather changes. Therefore, we have to adapt to those changing weather conditions and wear the appropriate clothing and take the necessary precautions in dealing with that weather. On the coast, if a hurricane is coming, individuals have to adapt and modify their homes and maybe board up their windows to protect from wind damage. That's adaptation. Again, it's when humans change because of the environment. The second one, it would be modification. It's a little bit different here. It's when humans modify their environment. Humans will do this, and we have been doing it since we arrived on Earth, to suit our ever-changing needs. So for instance, if you live in a dry area, whether it's the Sahara or whether it's the southwestern part of the United States, things are very hot and arid there. There's a lack of water. So humans have modified the landscape to create irrigation systems. We've built dams to dam rivers and create reservoirs. Okay, and we use that water that we're collecting to transport it and use it as a drinking source, use it to water farms, and use it for our plants and animals as well. The last one is dependence. This would be when humans obtain something from their environment that are essential to our lives. The best one to think about this and how it's applicable to geography is our over-reliance and dependence upon fossil fuels, which are a non-sustainable or non-renewable resource that we have been utilizing ever since we went through the process of industrialization. So we have depended on them for a long time period, and what you're starting to see happen around the world is a shift from being fossil fuel dependent to new alternative green energies or sustainable renewable solutions for energy. So that would be dependence. For this one, we're going to do the same thing we did in the previous activity. We're going to think about how people within, let's say, Delaware and the United States, or in general, have to adapt to certain situations, how they modify the environment, and also how those things could result in different types of dependence. So we'll do that, and we're also going to take a look at several case studies, okay, examples where you guys will have to come up with how people adapt, modify, and depend upon the environment. And one such example would be the Hoover Dam.